Welcome to the rusted garden. Today I wanted to show you the actual rusted garden, and we're going to start in my front yard, and I'll move through quickly. And I'm going to try and make this video interesting in that I'll talk about some of the tips for your vegetable garden that are in my other videos and things that can really help you out. And you can see the flowers. These are mostly perennials that I grew from seed in my grow closet. As you come around the side of the house, this is the side that gets full sun. And you can see some butterfly bushes, and you come right up to two blueberry bushes. Blueberries love full sun. These blueberries have been here for probably 7 or 8 years. I never get the blueberries because the birds eat them. And you can see how good they look. I did try bird netting, which I don't recommend because birds actually get caught in it. Tried the owl. The owl worked for a week. I even put in different posts to move the owl around. But eventually the birds got used to it and will sit on its head. Come up to a fig tree. The fig tree's been here probably 8 or 9 years. It can be cut back. It's huge now. I get figs every year. And one tip that I think will save you a lot of money is here's a fig. It's a different variety than the brown fig that I have. If you go to Home Depot and Lowe's about now, you can go to the 50% off section for damaged plants or whatever. This was in there. It was a little beat up, a little bit of water, a little bit of care. The fig only cost $5. You come to the front entranceway into the garden, and that's a Concord grape. You can see my container, potatoes, tomatoes, kohlrabi, and that's cilantro. And one thing I want to show you real quick is the eggplant, which isn't doing too well. And you can see all these holes. Those are flea beetles, and the only way to really treat that is with Sevin Dust. You can try to put a netting, just dust it lightly with the Sevin Dust. I always say be as green as you can, be as organic as you can, but don't do it at a risk of not being able to have vegetables. Here's my lettuce, and that's going to start bolting soon. But that was just a scatter plot of heirloom lettuce that I bought. Another tomato glacier variety. And you can see in here bunching onions, celery, beets, and carrots. I also have a flower bed right here, which I use to attract beneficial insects. A lot of ladybugs come in there. And I do recommend, if you can, is get some perennial flowers as close as you can to your garden. That's baby's breath, purple echinacea, and butterfly flower, and I think the purple ones are pincushion flower. If you come across to the other side, you can see my Swiss chard, parsley, and some lettuce that's coming to the end. And as that's ending, I have beans coming up. In the back is fennel, right by the 10-10 fertilizer, which I do recommend you keep a bag of 10-10-10 around. You can use compost or whatever you have, but if you're not lucky enough to be able to compost a whole lot, 10-10-10 works the best. A couple more container potatoes. That's the hothouse cage that I used in the video. The zucchini, one thing with the zucchini is that they do get the squash bugs and beetles that eat them. If you grow them up a cage, it will provide support, and it will keep the leaves off the ground, which make it more difficult for beetles to get on. And if you go right to the base and you keep your plant off the ground, you can put the Sevin Dust right around there, and any beetle, squash bug, anything that's coming through will actually crawl through the dust and die. And what I try and do with Sevin Dust is use it in a very specific way. Don't broadcast it all over your plants. You don't need to do that. There are some beets spaced out, ready to grow. That is black kale, and notice very few holes on it, on it. And the holes, you can see a little bit there, but for the most part it looks pretty good, and that's because I've been using BT on it. That's kohlrabi, and that's a bolted plant. It's flowering. You can actually eat the flowers. That's my asparagus bed. There's the black crim that I've been shooting in videos. It's ready to get pruned a little bit again. This is my sunken container garden. There's 2 varieties of peppers. That's Bavarian endive right in the front, and that's what bolting spinach looks like. As soon as it gets warm, a lot of the cool weather vegetables just flower to make seed. That's a Baxter Bush tomato, an early wonder tomato, Silvery Fir, 2 varieties of cucumbers, Patio H hybrid tomato in the back, which is a full-size tomato. Some more tomatoes, and the thing that well, there you go. That white butterfly is the butterfly that lays the green cabbage worms, and they will destroy your kales very quickly. And let me just show you what I mean. I've been spraying this with BT. This is what it would look like if I didn't spray it. This is kind of my test plant that I shot in videos, and let me bring this other one into view. And you can see right on the tip a green cabbage worm or green cabbage looper. That's what BT kills, and you can see how healthy it looks. Bacillus thuringiensis is a naturally occurring I think it's an organism or bacteria, but it's found in the soil, and if you spray your plant with it, it will kill the green cabbage worm. And over here, a couple of pole beans, some more tomatoes. This is a raised bed garden that I just built today, and I want to show you these leeks. I talked about leeks. They can stay in here for a long time. It's a very hardy plant. These are good. These have probably been in here 4 or 5 weeks. They were planted, now that's probably 6 weeks. They were planted a long time ago, and the brothers to them are right there. They were put in the ground a while back. You can see how much bigger they are. Anyway, my point is leeks are very hardy. They're hard to kill. So they can sit in these trays until you have room, and then they can be put in the garden. These are transplants. Those are beets that I shot a video on. They're ready to go in the garden. And what you can do is create transplants. Grow your plants in cells. You can actually grow beets in flats. And while your cool weather crops and stuff are growing up, and while you're turning over soil or when you build a new bed, you will have plants that you can put directly into the bed. It'll save you a lot of time. That's a trellis. Basic trellis costs about $10 to make. There's one more thing I want to show you. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Next to the beer garden. This is the Iron Phosphate, and it kills slugs. It's doing a very, very good job in my garden, and the best way to use it is just to sprinkle it right in the trail, the path between your raised beds, and that's all you have to do. And the slugs will be attracted to that through the scent and eat it. And part of the beauty of a raised bed, aside that you can plant it earlier and it gets warmer a little bit quicker, is that you can create these paths in between. You can put the iron phosphate along there, and the snails and slugs actually have to crawl from wherever they're hiding across there. They'll come in contact with the bait, they'll eat it, and they will die. Let me bring you around to the rest of the garden real quick. Up here you can see all my transplant tomatoes and other vegetables and things that are just left over from my sale. Some of that will go into the ground. Blackberry bush. My other raised bed section, that's a bicolor oxheart, which is a great tomato. You can see more kohlrabi, peas, onions. That's my herb garden back there. You can see some of the containers for my container gardens. And you can see the peas that have been in a couple videos. Peas grow great in 5-gallon containers. The tip for peas, and I've just been eating them as I've been out here all day today. The tip for peas is that you can grow them in the fall here in Maryland too. So around, I don't know, August 15th or so, you can replant some pea buckets and you will have peas in the fall. Some more containers for flowers. And finally, I'm getting ready to grow my container tomatoes, and you can see that they're just starting in there. The only tip I have for you for container vegetables at this point, for this video, is make sure you use at least 5-gallon buckets for tomatoes. They start out small, you think they're cute and can, you know, maybe stay in a 2.5-gallon bucket, but they get huge. You really have to water tomatoes grown in containers every day. If it dries out once, it will harm the tomatoes. These buckets aren't set up with any sort of self-contained watering system. I'm going to work on that over the next week and put a couple more tomatoes out. That's my apple tree, more perennials, which are sort of the untamed country. There's some more asparagus down there. I haven't gotten to those beds yet. I've only made it. Oh, let me quickly. Let's see if I can do this without making everyone motion sick. I created a tomato disease barrier raised bed and put that up on the blog real quick. That's my compost house. It was a playhouse for the kids when they were younger. This is the raised bed that I'm creating as a disease barrier, and if you go underneath, you see a sheet of plastic that has holes poked in it, and basically it's a double disease barrier, plastic, mulch, and what I hope is to not have trouble with leaf spot and early blight. And we'll see how it goes. A couple of other grapes, another grape plant, and this is another section of sort of the hidden garden that I haven't gotten to yet, but eventually I will get there. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my blog at www.therustedgarden.blogspot.com. Thanks.